On this episode of What's Going On with Shipping, the Navy fails to address chain of command for surface ship fires. I'm your host, Sal Mercogliano. Welcome to this episode of What's Going On with Shipping. If you're new to the channel, take a moment, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so be alerted about new videos as they come out. All right. So there was a story that just came out today, and again, it gets me all fired up. Sorry for the bad pun here about the situation regarding the fire that took place on board the Bonhomme Richard back in July of 2020. And the story on Defense News by Megan Eckstein, who I know Megan very well, is a great story, but the content of the story, and it's nothing to do with Megan, is what has really got me going at this point. So get ready for another Sal vent on Navy firefighting. It goes with a long chain of vents on this issue. All right, if you're new to the channel, take a moment, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so be alerted about new videos as they come out. All right, let's dive into this. So first off, this is not the first video I've done on the Bonhomme Richard fire, as you'll see here. I did two fires back in July of 2020 during the fire taking place. But more importantly, this past year, I did two pretty long, extensive videos, both almost 50 minutes, that really broke down the fire. One on the timeline of the fire itself, and then the second on the analysis, commentary on the initial firefighting that took place and how the Navy utterly gets wrong why they need fireboats in their major harbors. They released a report from the Naval Installation Command that was completely an egregious document, page and a half, did not investigate what a fireboat even is. And it's just ridiculous. But however, I did another video not too long ago where the Navy announced punishments for those responsible of the Bonhomme Richard fire. And in the case of the commanding officer, the executive officer, they received almost no punishment. Letters of reprimand, they lost a couple of months' pay. That's about it. But this story by Megan Eckstein is really what I want to talk about today, because I think this story really captures a lot of what is going on. So Megan published this story, Navy addresses chain of command for surface ship fires. Goes in here. The Navy is clarifying the chain of command for fires and other emergencies that occur on board. Commander of Naval Surface Forces is Vice Admiral Roy Kitchener told reporters the surface community is investing in fire safety, including paying for additional training and hiring more fire safety officers. Great, fantastic. One of the most prominent changes is clearly identifying which leader on the waterfront would take charge of the situation if a fire or other emergency arose. This is the point that gets me a little bit crazy. The responsibility will now rest with Kitchener in his role as Commander, Naval Surface Forces Pacific, and Rear Admiral Brendan McLean as the Commander of Naval Surface Forces Atlantic. Each admiral, a 3-star admiral on the West Coast, a 2-star on the East Coast, will identify an executive agent for each fleet concentration under their command, Mayport, Florida, or Everett, wherever it is, who would execute the authority when the admiral is not physically present. Okay, time out. I got to. I'm literally going to put my firefighting cap on for this. Seriously, this is what we're going to do. We're going to put admirals in charge of when a fire occurs on a ship. So we're just kicking this upstairs. That's what we're doing. This would be like a local fire department not taking command of a fire, but kicking it up to the mayor, the governor. That looked like a great picture, wasn't it? I know I'm going to get pictures of this sent to me quite a bit. But this would be like a mayor or a governor or a senator taking command. Why are you putting an admiral in charge of a ship fire? This story goes on here. When the Bonhomme Richard fire caught fire on a Sunday morning, July 2020, the firefighting response got off to a slow start. 90 minutes till they put water on the fire. 90 minutes, making it difficult to contain the fire. The ship ultimately burned for 5 days, and the Navy determined it would have to scrap the ship. Kitchener's predecessor, Vice Admiral Brown, who was in the role, sat there and said that the Third Fleet should have been more involved in the firefighting effort. That got him censured by the Secretary of the Navy, by the way, for that comment. not the comment, but for his role during this. According to his understanding of the chain of command described in the fire safety document, but declined to take action that morning, Brown said he stepped in to fill a leadership role, but received a secretarial letter of censure on July 15th for his role in the fire. Can I be clear? The person who failed their job in fighting this fire was two people, the command duty officer and then the senior officer that relieved him, the commanding officer. That's it. I don't know why the Navy has to make things so friggin' complicated. It is the commanding officer. This vessel, the Bonhomme Richard, came out of a shipyard, which means it was no longer in the shipyard. It was handed over to a Navy commanding officer. This commanding officer failed in his duties to prepare this ship for a shipboard fire. And then when the fire did happen, he failed to exercise his leadership role. Understand, on the civilian side, shoreside firefighting, we have systems. We have NIMS, the National Incident Management System. We have a command system. There is a incident commander. The incident commander is in charge of the incident, so that if I am riding up on my fire truck to a fire, I take command of the scene. Now I can pass command up the chain. If I'm a captain on my fire department, if an assistant chief comes, I can pass it to him. I can pass it to somebody lower technically. I just have to physically pass that command up. There is no way that the 3-star Surface Pacific commander or the 2-star Surf Land commander should take charge of that fire if they're not there, or their executive agent, this commanding officer of the vessel who knows the vessel, who knows the systems on the vessel, who should know the condition of the vessel, should be in command of the fire. Now, if the situation gets so far out of hand, then the commanding officer can pass it up the rung. Now, let's be clear, there are other elements here. The commanding officer should have supporting commands, so that Fed Fire, which operates the shoreside fire departments, should be supporting the commanding officer. That Fed Fire should be coordinating with other fire departments coming in. They should be the agent that the commanding officer turns to and says, I need firefighting teams to back up my shipboard firefighting teams. I need this. I need hoses on the ground. I need water supply. I need this. They should be going. That Fed Fire representative, the captain, the battalion chief, the deputy chief, the chief should be right there to coordinate that. Third should be the base. The base commander. The base commander should be pooling together all the resources from other ships, from the base itself, from whatever assets they need, manpower, crews, hoses, air bottles, resources, whatever they need, that they provide the support to the commanding officer. Now, what may wind up happening is this gets so big and complicated, then the commanding officer, who's basically the on-scene commander, the incident commander, may sit there and say, okay, I'm going to take operations command of the fire. Meanwhile, let's put one of these other people, in this case, an admiral, in charge. But it doesn't have to be an admiral. It'd be someone the commanding officer appoints to be the coordinating agent over this to see the larger aspects. I think the Navy is just abrogating the role of the commanding officer here. And the fear I have with this decision is that if a commanding officer thinks, well, I'm not going to have to worry about this because the admiral's going to take charge. And if the admiral takes charge, then he's the one or she's the one responsible. Then we may not get any sort of response that we need from the shoreside assistance. Right here in the end, Kitchener says this, it's an enduring campaign. We fundamentally changed the way we look at import firefighting, Kitchener said. It's warfighting readiness, quite frankly. We cannot allow the Chinese to attrit our ships. We cannot attrit our own ships. This, again, they're looking at it from a military perspective, from a military chain of command, where you have to have admirals in charge. This is firefighting. Understand, one person with a fire extinguisher puts out this fire on board Bonhomme Richard. That's what they needed. They needed to get the flying squad going. They needed to have crews fitted out. They needed to know what systems were up and running. Yes, 87.5% of all the fire mains were offline. Well, 12.5% were working. You know, where's a buttload of fire extinguishers? Where are the hoses that you string from the one operational fire station you have on the upper V to get into the lower V? Admiral's not going to do that. It's got to be the people on the ship. You are taking away the responsibility for them. Yes, you need to have structure in place should this get big, and then you put it in. But I would have thought that would have existed prior to this. How did this not exist prior to this fire taking place? I literally think the Navy is so overthinking these issues that they're not seeing where the fundamental problem is. It's McCain and Fitzgerald again. You ask the Navy what happened with McCain and Fitzgerald, you get these long reports, and it talks about systematic issues within the Navy. All this happened. You asked a merchant mariner who sailed ships, what was the problem with the McCain or the Fitzgerald? Well, the Fitzgerald was they didn't look out the window and see a big hunking ship bearing down on them. That was the fundamental problem. The person on the bridge failed to turn the ship to avoid the big container ship coming down on them. On the McCain, when you slowed down the ship, you failed to look at the RPM indicators that showed you that not both engines slowing down, but only one was slowing down. That, again, yeah, you can argue it was crew training. They didn't understand how to marry the two systems together. But once you see what is happening, you should be able to sit there and say, okay, push the throttles back up again because we're not getting the propeller revolutions we need. Again, we so want to overanalyze these issues and not see what the core fundamental issues are. Again, Bonhomme Richard fire, you never know about it if that fire gets put out by the duty crew on the ship, but the duty crew, the command duty officer, who was subsequently relieved by the commanding officer, failed to do their job. And why we're not more upset about that, I don't know, with the Navy. And this story by Megan talking about the Navy now solution to this is more admirals. That's the Navy's solution to everything. Can I be clear? Let's throw more stars at this. And I think that is a terrible solution to a problem that exists on the deck plates. It's not in the command headquarters ashore. Sorry. It's just the way I see it. My opinion, someone who has sailed ships for the US Navy, has taken Navy firefighting schools, Navy damage control, have been a firefighter for 25 years now, have fought shipboard fires, landside fires, a historian who has studied damage control, firefighting in the history of the Navy, including the big battles of World War II. That's my take on it. Am I right or am I wrong? I don't know. But that's my view. And it's worth exactly the amount of electrons you're getting from this broadcast. So hope you enjoyed today's episode. I know some in the Navy would not, but oh well, that's what we do. If you did enjoy it, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you'll be alerted about new videos as they come out. Leave a comment. I'll get some comments. Give it a thumbs up, share it across social media. And if you can, support the page. You can do that two ways. One, hit that super thanks button below. You can contribute directly to the page or become a patron of the page. Head on over to Patreon. You'll see the link at the end of the video here or down in the show notes. Come on over to the page, support the page. We've got different levels that you can support the page, and that allows me to put these videos together and bring you high quality props too. There's actually one of my old firefighting helmets. It's out of date now, so I get to keep it as a souvenir. So anyway, to our next video. Sal, signing off.